Foundation is supported by donations from Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated as a charitable organization whose contributions provide support for educational, cultural, health, and community programs in the Lehigh Valley. Funding is also provided by Lehigh Valley Bank. Lehigh Valley Bank provides student loan plans for undergraduates, graduate students, and parents of students, as well as a full line of regular banking services. Our name says it all. The series is also made possible by Channel 39 School Services participating districts.
WLVT-TV presents Scholastic Scrimmage, a weekly program featuring teams from Lehigh Valley High Schools in a contest of quick recall. Tonight's teams are from Southern Lehigh High School and Northern Lehigh High School. Your host for Scholastic Scrimmage is Harry Price.
Good evening and welcome to Scholastic Scrimmage. We're going to meet the teams and the coaches, then we'll begin the contest. From Southern Lehigh High School, George Nagy, a junior. Janessa Kepler, a senior. The captain, back with us again, is Gav Elias, a senior. Jeff Strom, a senior. And we have two coaches for Southern Lehigh, Joe Holinsky, teacher of chemistry, and Ann Thomas, teacher of social studies. From Northern Lehigh High School, Tom Barthlow, a senior. Brian Pudliner, captain, is a senior. Dave Gower, a senior. Mike Erdesy, a sophomore. The coach is Denise Tarosi, who is teacher of English. Channel 39 is pleased to announce that at the conclusion of the series, after the championship contest in June, the Air Products Foundation will present a $1,500 scholarship award to the championship high school and a $750 award to the runner-up high school. Remember, the answers to the questions on Scholastic Scrimmage require rapid recall of factual information and aren't necessarily indicative of academic training. The rules for the contest are as follows. On toss-up questions, you'll be given 10 points for a correct answer, and 10 points will be deducted if you respond incorrectly. If you respond incorrectly, then the opposing team will have an opportunity to answer without penalty, and they'll receive 5 points for a correct answer in this situation. Of course, each correct answer to a toss-up question gives you the opportunity to answer a bonus question without penalty. Team members may confer only on the bonus questions, and the answers to these questions should be given to me by the two team captains. A buzzer will signal the end of the contest. If it sounds while a question is being asked, the game stops. If the buzzer goes off while a team is answering, they will be allowed to complete their answer, but no bonus question will be asked. Are there any questions? If not, we'll begin the contest with our first toss-up, and we're preparing for a 10-point bonus. For 10 points, I want you to name the Mexican general who's noted for leading his troops in the Southern Lehigh SCAF.
Villa?
Incorrect. Villa was given as the answer. I've not completed it. It's a rebound over to Northern Lehigh. No conferring, please. Name the Mexican general who is noted for leading his troops in the brutal assault on the Alamo. It's Mike Erdesy.
Santa Ana.
Santa Ana. Antonio Lopez de Santa Ana is correct. The assault was made on the Alamo March 6, 1836. You're correct. We're going to have a 10-point bonus. You got 5 points, Brian, on the rebound. The famous monument, Christ of the Andes, stands on the border of two nations. For 5 points apiece, I want you to name those two countries. Brian.
Chile and Argentina.
You're correct. You have your 10 points. This time we're looking at a 15-point bonus, your toss-up. I'll name an American humorist and give you the first part of the title of one of his most famous short stories. You can earn 10 points by completing the title. The author is James Thurber. The short story is The Secret Life of blank at Southern Lehigh. Jeff.
Walter Mitty.
Correct. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. A bonus 15-pointer, Scaff. You give me the answers, and here we go. For 5 points each, I want you to identify the authors who are associated with these towns made famous in fiction. First one, Gopher Prairie, Minnesota.
Thornton Wilder.
Scaff.
Wilder.
Incorrect. Thornton Wilder is incorrect. It would be Sinclair Lewis. Gopher Prairie, made famous in Lewis's Main Street. Spoon River, Illinois. Scaff.
Wilder.
No, not Wilder there either. It's Edgar Lee Masters' Spoon River Anthology. And the final one, Winesburg, Ohio.
Sure.
Scav.
Steinbeck.
Oh, Sherwood Anderson, in the book by the same name, Winesburg, Ohio. We're going on to another toss-up, looking this time at a 10-point bonus. For 10 points, what's the standard 5-letter name for the fossilized resin from ancient cone, Southern Lehigh, Janessa?
Amber.
Amber is correct, from ancient cone-bearing trees. Your bonus, a 10-pointer. It's a bonus question to test your vocabulary in meteorology. For 5 points each, name these types of weather fronts as I described them. The first one. This type of front forms the boundary beyond air masses that have temporarily stopped moving. Scaff?
Stationary front.
Correct. This type of front is formed when an air mass becomes closed off from the ground so that the boundaries of the air mass only exist at upper levels.
Inversion.
Scaff?
Inversion.
Inversion I'll not accept. An occluded front. Occluded front. Occluded meaning closed in. Another toss-up. You got 1 out of the 2, Scaff, for 5. Toss-up, it's in mathematics. Assume that x, you might want to use paper and pencils on this, assume that x varies directly as the square of y. Also assume that when x is equal to 4, y is equal to 6. When y is equal to 2, what is the value of x? Too late. The buzzer sounded. Again, a variation problem. I was asking for the value of x, and given the information we were, the value is 4 divided by 9, 4/9. Another toss-up. Prime Minister David Lang has informed the United States that ships equipped with nuclear weapons, Southern Lehigh, George.
New Zealand.
You're correct. Ships equipped with nuclear weapons are unwelcome in his country's ports. I wanted you to name the country which Lang heads. Your bonus, a 10-pointer. Name the former Reagan administration official who angered many of his former colleagues when he wrote an insider's book called The Triumph of Politics, Why the Reagan Revolution Failed. Scaff.
Stockman.
David Stockman is correct, the former director of the Office of Management and Budget. Going for a 10-pointer, here's your toss-up. The ancient writing of Egypt was hieroglyphics. The primitive Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
Cuneiform.
You are correct. The primitive writings of the ancient Babylonians and Sumerians is characterized by wedge-shaped figures impressed on soft clay tablets with a stylus. What was it called? Cuneiform is the correct answer. How did you get that? Well, we'll go on. Here's your bonus, a 10-pointer. It's a multiple choice bonus, Scaff, for you and the team. From the following, select the word which is an antonym of the adjective specious. That's S-P-E-C-I-O-U-S. It's a multiple choice. Would it be scanty, genuine, vigorous, or particular? Scaff.
B.
B, number 2, is genuine, and I think I heard that from Jeff. Genuine is the antonym of specious. Here, we're going with another toss-up, looking at a 10-point bonus. For 10 points, if 4 20-ohm resistors are all connected in parallel, let me read that again. If 4 20-ohm resistors are all connected in parallel, what is the overall or total at Southern Lehigh, Jeff?
1/5.
Incorrect. I'll read it for Northern Lehigh. If 4 20-ohm resistors are all connected in parallel, what is the overall or total equivalent resistance? Dave Gower.
80 ohms.
80? 80 is incorrect. It would be 5 ohms. 5 ohms. We'll go on to another toss-up. On the monitor, mathematics. If f of x is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 1, as you see it there on the monitor, I want you to find f of the quantity x minus 1. Southern Lehigh, Jeff Strom.
X squared plus 4x plus minus 4.
I'll not accept it. There's no response from Northern Lehigh. The value of that, the f of the quantity x minus 1 would be x squared minus 2, x squared minus 2. Another toss-up. In June of 1985, Brazilian authorities unearthed what they believed to be the remains of Joseph Mengele, the notorious Nazi angel of death. For 10 points, name the concentration camp at Southern Lehigh. Scaff Elias.
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz is correct. Name the concentration camp where he carried out his barbaric crimes, and it was the Auschwitz death camp. Bonus 10-pointer. 5 points apiece. Name the capital cities of these European countries. Switzerland.
Bonn.
Scaff.
Bern.
Correct. Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Scaff.
Belgrade.
I'll accept. Belgrade. Going for another toss-up, looking at a 15-pointer. The vines of Engadi, that's spelled E-N-G-A-D-D-I, and the lily of the valley are found in the Song of Solomon. 10 points. In what book of the Bible do you find the parting of the Red Sea? Southern Lehigh, George.
Exodus.
Exodus is correct. 15-point bonus, Scaff. As you know, the prefix tri, T-R-I, means 3. I'll give you 5 points apiece for each of the following tri words. What was Neptune's three-pronged spear called? Scaff?
Trident.
Correct. Identify the medieval name for grammar, rhetoric, and logic considered as a single course of study. No response. It would be trivium, T-R-I-V-I-U-M. Name the geologic period of the Mesozoic era, which was 3 subdivisions.
Triassic.
Scaff?
Triassic.
Correct. You got 2 out of the 3, Scaff, for 10 points. On the monitor, it's in art. We're looking at a 10-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. It was a style of design that became popular during the 1920s and 1930s, although its look of sheer, streamlined elegance was realized chiefly in furniture and jewelry. Southern Lehigh, Janessa.
Art Deco.
You are correct. It also influenced the architectural design of structures such as the Chrysler Building, which we did see there or are seeing now on the monitor. I want you to give me the 2-word name for the style of design. You gave me Art Deco, and that is correct. Bonus 10-pointer. An artist who paints on a plaster wall after the plaster is dried uses a process called secco. For 10 points, what process is used by an artist who paints on a plaster wall while the plaster is still damp?
Fresco. There we go.
Scaff?
Fresco.
Correct. Fresco painting or fresco. We're going to take a halftime break now with the score at half, 100, is that 95? I'm sorry, 95 for Southern Lehigh and 15 for Northern Lehigh. George Nagy, during our first round of competition, we asked the contestants to tell us something about their families, and would you please begin?
My father is an employee with the Bethlehem Steel Company. My mother is a secretary with the Southern Lehigh School District, and I have one sister, Susan, in the 8th grade at Southern Lehigh Middle School.
Thanks, George. Janessa Kepler.
My father works for PP&L.
Okay, thank you, Janessa. The captain, Scaff Elias.
My father works for a pharmaceutical company. My mother is a homemaker, and I have a sister, Lindar, in the 9th grade.
Thank you, Scaff. Jeff Strom.
My father teaches at Moravian College. My mother works at the Catholic Social Agency, and I have one brother in the 1st grade.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks to Southern Lehigh. Over to Northern Lehigh, we'll begin with Tom Bartholow.
My father is president of Lehigh County Community College. My mother is a homemaker, and I have a sister in 7th grade at Northern Lehigh Junior High.
Thanks, Tom. Brian Pudliner, the captain.
My father is a management consultant. My mother is employed by Paris Neckwear, and my sister is a junior attending Moravian College.
Thanks, Brian. Dave Gower.
My father's a dentist, my mother's a florist, and I have two older brothers and an older sister.
Thank you, Dave. And finally, Mike Erdesy.
My dad teaches in Northampton Junior High, and my mom works in a plumbing firm in Allentown, and my sister's in 2nd grade in Wallingport Elementary.
Thanks, Mike. And thanks to Northern Lehigh. Again, the score at half is 95 for Southern Lehigh, 15 for Northern Lehigh. Really not that much of a differential to make up. So let's go with the second half, a toss-up. We're preparing for a 10-point bonus. For 10 points, what's the geological term of French origin that refers to a large elevated tableland? Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
Plateau.
Plateau is correct. Bonus 10-pointer, Scaff. Name the two chemical compounds produced by the neutralization of calcium hydroxide with carbonic acid. I'll give you 5 points for each correct answer.
Water and calcium carbonate.
Scaff.
Water and calcium carbonate.
Correct on both counts. You've got your 10. Going for another 10-point bonus. Your toss-up. Since the founding of the modern state of Israel in 1948, the Israelis have set up many agricultural and industrial cooperatives in which people live in community housing projects, work together, and share the profits of their labor. Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
Kibbutz.
You are correct. Kibbutz was given as the answer. I wanted you to give me the 7-letter term for one of these Israeli cooperatives. Here's your bonus, a 10-pointer. The Ozark Mountains lie primarily in 3 different states. For 5 points each, name any 2 of these 3 states. Scaff.
Missouri and Arkansas.
And I would have accepted Oklahoma. It also touches, apparently, parts of Illinois and southeastern Kansas, but only touches them. You are correct. You got your points. Going for another 10-pointer. Toss up. I'm going to read this slowly. It's not really that complex, but you've got to listen to the terms. So concentrate on what I'm saying. Here's a question to test your command of the English language. For 10 points, give me the third-person plural form of the past perfect tense of the passive voice of the verb to strike. Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
They had been struck.
May I have that again? I had a cough behind me.
They had been struck.
You are correct. They had been struck. I would have accepted they had been stricken. You've got it correct in your bonus, Scaff, for you and the team. It's a 10-pointer, and it's about 2 palindromes. For each clue, give me a word that's exactly the same, spelled forward or backward. The first one, an act, a legal document associated with your house.
Deed.
Scaff.
Deed.
Correct. A float for a fishing line.
Bob.
Scaff.
Bob.
You are correct on that also. Here's your next, a toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. For 10 points, name the energetic black American educator who founded Tuskegee Institute. Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
Washington.
You are correct. Will we accept that judge as Washington? Booker T. Washington. Its most famous instructor was probably George Washington Carver. Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama. Bonus 10-pointer. How well do you know the planets of our solar system, Scaff and team? For 5 points each, I want you to identify the planets that I'm going to describe. The first one, this planet's 2 small moons may very well be captured asteroids.
Mars.
Scaff?
Mars.
Correct. This planet spins on its axis 1 1/2 times during each orbit around the sun.
Mercury. Mercury.
Scaff?
Mercury.
Correct. You've got them both. You have your 10. Another toss-up. I want you to listen closely. It's a mathematical toss-up question, and I want you to consider the equation x to the 3rd power, x cubed, plus x is equal to 0. For 10 points, how many of the 3 roots of that equation that I just gave you are real numbers? Southern Lehigh, Jeff.
1.
1 is correct, and the root would be 0. The other 2 roots are I, the square root of a -1, and the opposite of I. Here's your bonus, 10-pointer. It's another mathematics question. What's the slope of the straight line whose y-intercept is a -2 and whose x-intercept is a +4?
-2. -1/2.
Scaff.
-1/2.
Not a -1/2. It's a +1/2. +1/2. Another toss-up going for a 10-pointer. What item must every prospective immigrant to the U.S. obtain in advance from an Northern Lehigh, Brian?
Green card.
Incorrect. Judges, you will not accept green card, and we're going to read it in its entirety for Southern Lehigh. What item must every prospective immigrant to the U.S. obtain in advance from an American consul? Scaff.
Visa.
A visa is correct. Your bonus, you got 5 on the rebound, 10-pointer. How well do you know world leaders, Scaff? For 5 points each, I want you to identify the individuals who currently lead these governments. First, India.
Gandhi.
Scaff.
Gandhi.
Rajiv Gandhi is correct. Iraq, or Iraq.
Hussein.
Scaff.
Hussein.
Saddam Hussein is correct. You have your 10. Another 10-point bonus we're looking at. Here's your toss-up. What's the standard 8-letter term for the art of using language for persuasion? Northern Lehigh, Dave.
Oratory.
Oratory is incorrect. Southern Lehigh, George Nagy.
Rhetoric.
Rhetoric is correct. 10-point bonus. Might want to use paper and pencil on this one. I'm going to give you 2 lists. 5 famous names, then 5 places of birth. For 10 points, I want you to match the 5 with the 5. Here are your names. Knute Rockne, Andrew Carnegie, Adolf Hitler, Gautama Buddha, and Ludwig van Beethoven. Austria is one of the places. Germany, India, Norway, and Scotland. Scaff.
Knute Rockne is Norway. Carnegie is Scotland. Hitler is Austria. Buddha is India. And Beethoven is Germany.
Correct on all 5 pairs. You have your points. We're looking at another 10-point bonus. This is a toss-up. It's a listening toss-up, and I want you to listen to the excerpt. We just heard a segment of Finlandia. I want you to name its Scandinavian composer. Jan Sibelius of Finland. It was composed in 1900. Again, it's Finlandia. Another bonus 10-pointer. Our toss-up. What state has Carson City as its capital? Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
Nevada.
Correct. Bonus, Scaff. 10-pointer. For 5 points apiece, name these 2 major cities from the locations given. The first one at the mouth of the Hudson River. Scaff?
New York.
Correct. At the beginning of the Ohio River in Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
Scaff?
Pittsburgh.
You are correct. It's where the Monongahela and Allegheny rivers flow together to form the Ohio. Going for a 10-pointer. Toss-up. Dr. Watson was this to Sherlock Holmes. For 10 points, giving the 2-word Latin expression used in English to mean intimate friend or close associate. Alter ego. Alter ego. Another toss-up, looking at a 10-pointer. There's a measure of a star's apparent brightness according to which the brightest stars are assigned numbers near 1 and the dimmest naked eye stars are assigned numbers near 6. For 10 points, what's the standard astronomical term for this measure of brightness? Northern Lehigh, Mike.
Magnitude.
Correct. And your bonus, a 10-pointer, Brian, for you and the team. During the last half of 1985, California agricultural inspectors found and destroyed 12 colonies of so-called killer bees, which have spread northward since escaping from an experimental station in Brazil nearly 30 years ago. For 10 points, from what continent had Brazilian scientists imported these especially aggressive bees? Brian?
Africa.
Correct. It's the land of origin of the killer bees. Going for a 10-pointer toss-up. A TV dramatization of James Hilton's story that was set at the Brookfield boarding school and concerned an aging teacher of classics is presently being shown on Channel 39. Southern Lehigh, Janessa.
Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
You are correct. Name this popular sentimental tale. Goodbye, Mr. Chips. 10-point bonus, Scaff. A slightly unbalanced adolescent, dissatisfied with adult society, runs away from prep school. Unwilling to go home, he drifts about in New York. 10 points, 5 points apiece. Give me the full name of the character and the name of the novel by J.D. Salinger. Scaff.
Holden Caulfield is the name and Catcher in the Rye is the novel.
We will accept Holden Caulfield and The Catcher in the Rye. Going for a 10-point bonus toss-up. It's a mathematical toss-up. I want you to listen carefully. Suppose that the binomial x plus 4 is cubed, and the result is written out as a sum of terms in the various powers of x. For 10 points, what's the numerical value of the coefficient of the term which is linear in x? Southern Lehigh, Scaff. Quickly.
No response.
No response from Scaff. Over to Northern Lehigh. It's a toss-up. Again, I was looking for the numerical coefficient of the linear term in x, and it would be 48. 48. Another toss-up. Going for a 15-pointer. For 10 points, name the individual who, with Steve Wozniak, was a co-founder of Apple Computers. Southern Lehigh, Scaff.
Jobs.
Steve Jobs is correct, who was relieved of his management duties with the company in the summer of 1985 after losing a power struggle with John Sculley, Apple's present chief executive. You are correct. 15-point bonus for you and the team, Scaff. 5 points apiece. Name the 3 maritime provinces of Canada.
Scotia, Newfoundland, and Prince Edward's Island. Where?
Scaff.
Nova Scotia.
Go on, finish.
Newfoundland and Prince Edward's Island.
We'll accept Nova Scotia. We'll accept Prince Edward Island. New Brunswick is the third. You have 10 final points. The buzzer has gone off. The final score is 265 for Southern Lehigh and 15 for Northern Lehigh. Northern Lehigh, we want to thank you for being with us, and obviously you ran into a very tough team. I should mention Southern Lehigh, the defending champions of Scholastic Scrimmage, and it looks like they're going to do well again. Tom, Brian, and Dave, we're going to wish you success in college. Mike, you've got a couple more years with us, as you're now only a sophomore. Southern Lehigh, congratulations. A great way to start off a new year. We're going to see you back here in the second round in March, late March, against Catasauqua High School. Next week's contestants will be from Boyertown and Easton High Schools. This is Harry Price. Thank you for being with us, and good night.
Funding for Scholastic Scrimmage is provided by the Air Products Foundation. The foundation is supported by donations from Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated as a charitable organization whose contributions provide support for educational, cultural, health, and community programs in the Lehigh Valley. Funding is also provided by Lehigh Valley Bank. Lehigh Valley Bank provides student loan plans for undergraduates, graduate students, and parents of students, as well as a full line of regular banking services. Our name says it all. The series is also made possible by Channel 39 School Services participating districts.